In this video, we're diving deep into the top 3 ultra-rare coins that could be hiding in your collection right now. Could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars. The rare 1965 Washington quarter dollar, the scarce 1971 UK Elizabeth II new Pence coin, and the iconic 1976 bicentennial quarter dollar have shocked collectors with jaw-dropping auction prices. These aren't just everyday coins, they're pieces of history with errors, misprints, and unique features that can turn spare change into a small fortune. The 1971 UK Elizabeth to new Pence error coin, in the right condition, and with the right error, have shocked collectors with their just pocket money. That's the price of a brand new car, or even a deposit for a beautiful house, all locked inside a single small coin. That's why coin collectors and treasure hunters go crazy over this rare error piece. And today, we are going to explore the history, the mistakes that make this coin worth a fortune, and why some people would pay eye-watering prices to own one. So grab your cup of tea, sit tight, and let's take a journey into one of the most exciting coin stories you'll ever hear. The story begins in 1971, a year that changed British money forever. This was the year of decimalization, when the United Kingdom officially moved from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to the simpler system we know today. Before 1971, there were 240 pennies in a pound, but after decimalization, there were 100 new pence in a pound. To prepare for this massive change, the Royal Mint struck millions of new coins, including the 1 new pence, 2 new pence, and 5 new pence coins. These coins carried the words new pence to avoid confusion with the old pre-decimal coins. But in this transition, mistakes were bound to happen, and that's when error coins like the rare 1971 new pence slipped through. Error coins are like hidden treasure because they were never meant to exist, and their rarity makes them priceless to collectors. So, what makes the 1971 new pence error so special? The answer lies in the mistakes during the minting process. Some coins were struck with misaligned dies, which means the designs were not centered correctly. Others had doubled lettering, where the words new pence or the portrait of the Queen appears to have a shadow-like doubling effect. There are also wrong planchet errors, where the coin was struck on a blank piece of metal meant for another coin, making it instantly rare. And the most dramatic errors are off-metal strikes, where the coin looks like it's made of the wrong metal altogether. Each of these mistakes makes the coin a collector's dream, and because so few of them exist, their prices skyrocket whenever they appear at auctions. Now, here's where things get even more exciting. Most regular 1971 to new pence coins are worth only a few pounds today, because they were made in huge numbers and used every day. But when you find one with an error, everything changes. One collector's piece sold for more than £40,567 because of a striking error that made the coin unique. Another rare example with a double die error reached £57,345 at auction, stunning even the experts. And the rarest of them all, with a combination of wrong metal and design flaws, has been valued as high as £65,445. Just imagine stumbling across one of these in your coin jar at home suddenly. A coin you thought was just old spare change becomes a life-changing treasure. We're talking about one of the most exciting coins in American history, the 1976 bicentennial quarter dollar. This isn't just any quarter, this is a coin that celebrated the 200th birthday of the United States. And some rare error versions of this coin have sold for shocking amounts of money. Imagine turning over a coin you've had in your pocket for years and discovering that's the kind of life-changing surprise that makes coin collecting so thrilling. And that's exactly why this coin deserves her attention until the very end of this story. The bicentennial quarter was minted in 1975 and 1976 to honor the 200th anniversary of America's independence, instead of the usual eagle on the back. This coin featured a beautiful design with a colonial drummer, a torch of victory, and 13 stars to represent the original colonies. It was a special design made just for this event, and it became one of the most loved coins ever made in the United States. Almost everyone at the time wanted to keep one as a souvenir, but very few people realized that some rare mistakes, known as mint errors, would turn this common coin into a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. Most bicentennial quarters you see today are worth only 25 cents, maybe a few dollars if they are in perfect condition. But when a rare minting error is found, the value skyrockets. Errors can happen when the coin is struck on the wrong metal, when the design is doubled, or when the coin is misaligned. For example, there are bicentennial quarters that were mistakenly struck on silver plankets instead of the normal copper-nickel clad, and these rare pieces are worth thousands. Others have dramatic die breaks, missing elements, or double strikes that make them truly unique. Because every error is one of a kind, collectors are willing to pay enormous sums of money to own them. One of the most famous bicentennial era quarters sold at auction for an incredible $66,457. That's right. A quarter that could have been in somebody's change jar ended up selling for more than $66,000. Another rare one sold for $78,455, and an even more stunning piece went for nearly $90,665. Think about that for a moment. What was once just 25 cents turned into a small fortune, simply because of a rare mistake at the mint. That is why collectors are always searching, always checking every coin, because you never know when you'll spot one of these hidden treasures. The reason these coins are so valuable is because of how rare they are. The U.S. Mint produced millions of bicentennial quarters, but only a handful had the mistakes that make them unique. When you have a coin that combines history, beauty, and extreme rarity, it becomes highly desirable. The 1965 Washington quarter, dollar, the kind you could easily find in change back then, could sell today for prices between $15,000, $30,000, and in some cases even more than $55,000. This is not just pocket change, this is life-changing money for one rare little piece of history. Now the question is, how can such a common-looking coin reach such shocking value, and what makes these rare 1965 era quarters so special? That's exactly what we're going to uncover step by step, so stay tuned until the end, because the story behind these coins is full of surprises. To understand why the 1965 quarter is so rare in certain cases, we need to go back in history. Up until 1964, quarters in the United States were made mostly of silver. But because of the rising price of silver in the 1960s, the government decided to switch the metal content. Starting in 1965, Washington quarters were no longer made of 90% silver. Instead, they were made with a copper core and a nickel coating, which is the style we still use today. That year marked a major turning point in U.S. coinage. The problem, however, is that some mistakes were made during this transition. While most 1965 quarters were properly made with the new copper-nickel clad composition, a few were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver plankets from 1964. This is what collectors call a wrong planchet error, and it is one of the most valuable errors in the entire Washington quarter series. Imagine a mint worker in 1965, still with some silver blanks, mixed in with the new clad blanks. The presses didn't stop, and those silver pieces got struck with the 1965 date by mistake. To the naked eye, they look almost the same as a normal quarter, but there are some small differences. Silver coins are slightly heavier than clad coins, weighing about 6.25 grams compared to 5.67 grams for a normal clad quarter. They also sound different when dropped, and the edge of a silver coin doesn't show the copper line that is visible on clad quarters. These little details are what make the difference between a coin worth a quarter and a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. Over the years, collectors have discovered a handful of these rare 1965 silver quarters, and whenever they appear at auction, the bidding goes wild. For example, one of these era coins has sold for around $15,000. Another in mint state condition brought in over $33,000. And the finest examples, with nearly perfect surfaces and incredible preservation, have shocked collectors by selling for over $55,000. Imagine how exciting it would be to pull one of these from an old jar of coins in your house.